Welcome back to Curse Breakers. We are audio, we are authentic, and we are ready to rock your world and unpack the astrology for next week. This is Jacki Smith, and I'm with Storm Cestavani, and we are the Curse Breakers. If you want more information on us, go to thecursebreakers.com, and we are sponsored by Coventry Creations. Hey, Storm, are you ready to unpack next week's astrology?
Absolutely. I'm really excited about this new format, actually.
You know, this is where we shine.
Yeah.
We shine in the audio. I mean, maybe we don't shine.
We did shine in the video too, girl. We looked good.
Oh yeah, we look great. We look great, but we were not as authentic as we are. We're a little too scripted, and we heard the love from the people who like to listen to us that they miss how organic and unscripted we are when we're in audio. I'm not worried about my eyelashes or my hair.
Me neither, girl. Me neither. And the other thing about it is that, I'm very, very notes oriented. So with the video format, I had like my notes everywhere. I had to keep them in one spot, basically stuck in front of me. Whereas now I can just have it all over the desk and it just be me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can be me.
Right. And so I was so worried about where I was looking.
Right. Me too. Me too.
And now I don't have to look anywhere. I can look at whatever I'm looking at. And yeah, we do work from notes because astrology needs notes. And yet half the time when we're going through recording our podcast, the notes just become ignored because we just start digging in.
You can't look down. I mean, you can't. I mean, it was just disjointed is probably the better word for it.
And yep. So
and this we can be real.
Because you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of when we're on the phone.
Yes.
And when we're on the phone and we start talking about everything, which is why we do a podcast, we just jam, and then we have to say stop, save it for the podcast.
Yeah.
So next week, and now we're talking about September 16th through September 22nd. And so here's a new format that we're going to do for you is we're going to take the astrology for the next week and we're going to unpack it for you and give you fair warning of things that are not so great and fair warning of things that are awesome so you can take advantage of each day. And so how does astrology work with curse breakers? Well, I mean, if you think about it, your astrology forecast, when you understand it and you combine it with your intention and your magic, can be that powerful tool that helps you break through those personal blocks or curses. Because there's some days, Storm, there's some days when you're like, what is going on with the planets? I feel cursed.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are all the little things that start to pile up and when you feel really powerless. So what we're doing is we are giving you a little power.
Right. I think that's the important thing. And it's how I pretty much run my life at this particular point, Jacki, is I look at what is coming up. Now, because I'm an astrologer, I can look a lot further. But I look at what's coming up and then make choices and decisions about how I'm going to manage my day, how I'm going to approach the day. Should I, this week, for example, on Tuesday, the moon is going to be conjoined with Saturn in Pisces.
Mm-hmm.
It's a kind of an emotional day and it's a heavy type of energy. Do I want to only schedule 3 consultations that day rather than 7? You know what I mean? I like
how you're thinking.
Yeah.
So without giving too much away, I mean, sure. Although this is a show about giving everything away. We're giving it away. So let's talk about what next week. Let's get right into it. So next week, you talk about how our very important planet, right. Well, it's not a planet, is the sun.
Right.
Why is the sun the most important energy of next week?
Well, number one, it is the planet that is the most active throughout the week. The other one is because it's going to be a tough week. Next week, just prepare yourself. I mean, get your teas, get everything, if you need a facial mask, get yourself a facial mask, whatever you need to do self-care and self-love, you're going to need it next week. Okay.
By the way, if you're listening, pause for a second, go get some note-taking paraphernalia.
Yeah, whether
it's pen and paper or get your computer out or get your calendar out. We're going to give you the rundown of the week so you can put stuff in there, maybe maybe even rearrange some appointments if needed. So,
Right.
okay. So the sun is important because it's going to be a tough week. So what of that makes the sun so important?
The sun is the center of our individuality as a person. Okay, it influences our energy, our focus, our self-expression. um it different you know it Every month we have a different season that we're working through, so it affects different areas of our lives, like whether it be relationships, career, or personal growth.
Okay.
It can boost our vitality. So if you're focusing on the sun and you're focusing on your own authenticity and making choices and decisions based upon what you want and need out of your life, because the sun is a little narcissistic, not gonna lie. Okay, it's a week in which you need to focus on you. Do you, boo?
Got it. If we're looking at the astromagic part of the world, the sun is
Hmm.
the curse breaker because
Correct.
you are focused on who you are, your authentic self.
Right.
And so as you go through the things of the astrologic shenanigans of the next week, um, remember who you are.
Right.
And that's what you mean by the sun, or your core self is the very important person.
It's the most important, and in astrology we still consider the sun and moon planets, even though they're really not. They're luminaries, but it's our very important planet of the week because of the fact that it's going to help you get through the next week. It's going to help you
Got
get
it.
through all of the difficulty and the muck and the frustration that comes along with all these other energies. So the more that you're you and you make choices and decisions based upon what it is that you want and need out of your particular life at this particular time in your life, the more it's going to affect and improve everything else around you.
Okay, so you got your note taking paraphernalia in front of you.
Yes.
Write down what it is you want out of next week.
Right.
What and it's not just like I want $1 million. It's like what do you want for you? How do you want to feel? What do you want for yourself? What breakthrough are you looking for? Um, it's not about the new car or the date. It's about you. You feel great about yourself. Because looking at next week astrology, one of the things you said to me is this is going to be an imposter syndrome week.
Right.
So,
Oftentimes people are going to feel very fake. People are going to feel like no matter what it is that they do, they're falling into past patterns, they're falling into past behaviors, they're falling into worries and fears that they may have felt that they've already gotten over, which is really highlighted right away on Monday with Venus in opposition to Chiron.
so let's go there. Talk
Sure.
about Venus opposing Chiron. And that is kind of like a, if we put that into a couple of words, what does that feel like? It's like healing emotional wounds day.
Right. It is because basically with Venus and Chiron, Venus is our urge to be in relationships. It's to connect with others. Chiron has to do with life's unfairness. Just no matter who you are, sucky things happen. And a lot of times it's not your fault or even the fault of anybody around you in some cases. It just is what it is. Okay. And when Venus opposes Chiron, past relationship emotional hurts may come to the surface. Relationship challenges may happen. It's a time in which issues such as self worth and vulnerability come up. And one of the things that I noticed, the people that will be strongly affected via Venus in opposition to Chiron, Jackie,
Mhm.
is people that have not really healed from past relationship pain. Okay, especially if something happened in a relationship or a connection with somebody else that was unfair. Okay, or there was some form of unfairness that was involved. You know, your boyfriend cheated on you,
Mhm.
your partner died,
Right. So it's like the dynamics,
right,
um, the stories of your past relationships will creep up and try and influence your current relationships or even an old fight. Like you're with that same person for 30 years and it might be
right.
something that you fought about early in the relationship. It's just like the impact of, okay, to put it in something really relatable. So how it could relate to me, because
Hmm.
that's what I got to give you. my first marriage, things that came up with my first marriage may have been reflected again early in my relationship with my forever husband. And then it might those two things compound,
Hmm.
like I bring the old tapes, old stories into the new relationship early on. Phoenix and I have been together for almost 30 years now, so but it still creeps up. So on Monday, things that are old, those old wounds, the little bit that's not healed of them may come up in conversations or my reactions. So it sounds like this is a really good time for a love's enchantment candle.
It is a really good time for a Love's Enchantment candle. And Jackie, the other thing that I also want to state is that the argument that you're having with your forever husband may actually be an argument you're having with your first husband.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's like echoes of the past
Right.
coming in. And so what that does is that creates it triggers up that pain and self-doubt, that confusion that came from that. And it doesn't have to be, well, Venus opposing Chiron, it really is probably more about the romantic relationships than the other relationships.
Which you have an advantage for me over this one, Jackie, because you've been married for 30 years and I've only been married for 3 months. So.
And oh, by the way, congratulations. This is so
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you.
I wish I was able to be there, but I think it was it a
No,
little just
we're having a big wedding probably next year that you'll be coming to. But
oh,
we
yay.
just for reasons that I won't get into on the air, we just felt as though that it was important to do now for just some legal reasons. So we
I
did it.
completely understand. So that's
Right.
Phoenix and I ran to Toledo,
Yeah, you all
Ohio.
did the same thing, basically. I mean, it's kind
Right.
of weird, but we both have Libra rising, so it's not surprising to
Do
me.
it now.
Yeah, let's just do it.
So back to Monday, September
Hmm.
16th, is all about healing those emotional wounds around self-worth and relationships. So be aware of this. And by the way, as we go through this and we talk about different candles, because
Hmm.
that's what we are, I'm all about the candle magic. It might be my superpower, and I'm always going to use that. Think about like as we go through the week, what are the things that are most likely to hit you,
Hmm.
and then focus on like if you have this big thing, let's say something blows up on Monday because Venus is opposing Chiron, that
Right.
love's enchantment candle is going to serve you all week.
Right.
It's gonna so it's kind of like if that wound gets opened, it doesn't necessarily close the same day. You have to deal
Absolutely.
with the fallout.
Absolutely.
So
And I think that you're right with it also. And then also the other thing that I think that people can do, Jackie, is also just I don't feel that you named the candles just off of the top of your head. Okay, I just don't. Even if you didn't think about it, I'm too much of a young guy, too much into synchronicity. To you know me, girl.
yeah,
Um, think about what does the words "love's enchantment" mean to you?
exactly. Because well, and I know the products inside and out.
Right.
Although lately, sidebar, lately, I've been learning so much about my products from our customers and how they're using them. I love it. And I love to hear about how other people use the Coventry products and the
Right.
Astro Magic products. Anyway, back to why love's enchantment is because when you are really enchanted with someone or a situation, the things that are not rosy, the things that are
Hmm.
difficult, you're looking at it through a lens of and I love you. And this
Right.
is still what I want to do. Yeah, this really stinks, and and I want to work on it with you.
Right.
And if everyone's in that same space, you can say, "Hey, I'm having we're being triggered." And now, by the way, if you're triggered, your partner's probably triggered.
Right.
So, it's not that you're the only one dealing with healing emotional wounds of self-worth and relationships. They are working on the same thing, and they're
Hmm.
going to be from a different perspective. So if you're both enchanted with your relationship, you can say, "Hey, this isn't us.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about what's being triggered." So just remember, you're going to be I said that word too many times. Things are going to come up that are going to remind you
Right.
of past experiences.
Right. Right. And I think that that dovetails also straight into Tuesday, Jackie, because it's kind of a continuation of the energy, although slightly different. Because on Tuesday, the moon is going to conjoin Saturn and Pisces. And it brings a very serious, disciplined vibe to emotions. You may feel heavy with responsibilities. You may find it hard to express feelings freely. It's a good time to really look inward, Jackie, and look at long term goals that you may have. Be aware of possible feelings of melancholy and things of that nature, and basically to stay grounded. And that's basically what the major factor is in regards to that particular uh, aspect. It's a heavy type of energy, but at the same time, if you tune inward and look at what it is that you really, really want and need, okay, it's basically where to go with it.
The theme of Tuesday seems to be emotional maturity and responsibility,
Right.
because from what you said with the conjunct. Now, opposing, I just wanted to say, for those who don't know astrology like the back of your hand, opposing is when the planets are opposite of each other astrologically, and then conjunct is when they're the same. And so,
Absolutely.
when the planets are opposing, they're like, when you're opposing something, you're like struggling, pulling against each other. And when you're conjunct, that means that you're exasperating each other. You're really enhancing each other. Did I get that right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So,
Conjunct marries the planets together. Opposition is a war. They're
okay.
they're fighting each other.
Right. Right. So they're married together. So moon is the emotions. Saturn is stability. So your emotions and your stability are going to be
And
working
also
together.
restriction. You may feel frustrated
Yes.
as well.
So you're releasing emotional blocks. So think about, so if you're healing emotional wounds with Venus opposing Chiron the day before, and then the next day you release it, holy mackerel, it's going to be a couple of very emotional days. But you're also maybe building some resilience.
Right.
So, yeah, I get that you're heavy. So, with that, I can see using the reversing Aunt Jackie's candle, Aunt Jackie's ultimate reversing candle, um, to flip the negative energy into something positive.
I like the reversible also because of the fact that the energy is so heavy and it's so serious, Jackie,
Uh-huh.
that I think you may need to flip it on its switch. Okay. And the reversible candle will help to do that. Moon Saturn can bring in a lot of self doubts, worries, anxieties, and fears. And, and like I talk about all the time, I think that the worst curses are the ones that we inflict on ourselves.
And when
Um,
when you're emotionally dumping, that's what you're
right.
doing.
Right. And I think that the reversible candle really affects, not only does it bring in a protective type of energy, so you don't just react to this energy, okay, but it also helps to remove the negativity and the gunk and help you to move inward and be more introspective.
Yes. And since Saturn is such like a foundational, like it brings that foundational energy, think about the long-term effect or goals, like how this emotional release is affecting your long-term goals, and
Right.
and don't slide into that melancholy.
Right.
It's
Right.
it's okay. But then so Monday we have the healing emotional wounds, and then Tuesday we have emotional releases, and then Wednesday, dun dun dun, the September 18th, we have what's going on September 18th.
Mercury opposes Saturn. So again, so we have the same thing that's building itself up. Okay, the Saturn type of energy. Both Saturn and Chiron have to do with uh, how they're similar is that they both have to do with frustrations. Okay, the difference is that Chiron seems to be more of the unfair aspect of it. Saturn has to do with more you need to get serious and you need to get real, and these frustrations are happening in order to bring you to the next level, to teach you the next lesson. Okay, Chiron doesn't have to do with lessons really. Um,
Okay.
that's
It,
kind of the difference between the two energies.
all right. I see. So Chiron is more, here's the wound.
Right.
Hi, I'm in pain. I'm flaring up. I'm going to get all of your attention. And Saturn is like, okay, what is the lesson within that wound?
Right.
Okay.
And it's sometimes a lot of times with Chiron, it's difficult to even get to what the lesson is. Okay, a lot of people stay stuck in the rage of Chiron. You know, it is in mythology. Chiron was the wounded healer, but he had an incurable wound. It couldn't be fixed, so he was howling in a cave all the time. Okay,
Got it.
so a lot of
Oh,
people get
poor
caught up in the
guy.
howling in the cave.
Poor
Okay,
guy.
you know, with Mercury in opposition to Saturn, this is Mercury has to do with communication. Okay.
Okay.
So, misunderstandings happen. Criticisms sting more when people say things to you. You may take them the wrong way. Okay. That criticism from your boss may be help you do your job more efficiently. May not necessarily be because he's a dick. Um, um,
So the curse that the curse that's breaking, that has the potential of breaking with
mhm,
Mercury opposing Saturn and then doing your magic around that, is that the mental limitations that come from communication struggles,
right,
like getting stuck in the story.
right.
So, hmm. And so, okay, so what candle magic or energy can help clear those mental communications and barriers?
I think poof.
Okay, I'm with you on that
I
because
think
poof
poof.
does poof it.
Yeah.
Just
Because it has a lot also to do, Jackie, with our minds turning serious and sometimes negative. Okay, you know, we may be approaching things from a negative mindset, which may not necessarily be all that productive or helpful.
right.
And I
And
think poof, getting rid of them would help with that.
and if you're continuing to work with that love's enchantment,
Hmm.
like let's say Monday you like that love's enchantment, you're like, okay, I'm doubling down. I'm going to keep working with it. This will still work because you're still in a positive mindset. If you decide that like the reversing candle, so you can reverse what is coming up, meaning that, and reversing what coming up doesn't mean you're shoving it back down. What you're flipping the script on it. You're
Absolutely.
instead of going in reverse, you're going in drive.
Absolutely.
Um, and then with poof, I can see how even if you decide to just use poof, you're going to poof the buildup of the 3 days,
Absolutely.
and poofing the negative story. So listen, one of my philosophies in life is that we build stories. When we don't know what's going on, we fill that gap with a story. And that story is driven by our experiences and our emotional aggravations.
Right.
Whatever's lit up emotionally for us will then fill the story. So if you like, okay, I don't know where my friend hasn't called me back in a couple of days, but you know what? I know she's in like Bali, so she's probably having a good time. So the story, I have a gap of information, so I'm in a good space about it, and I'm happy that they're in Bali. But maybe my friend hasn't called me back in a couple of days. What's wrong with them? Do they hate me because I'm in a negative situation in my head? So just understand that your story is built by where you are emotionally in a situation, what is being triggered within you as far as what's influencing you, etc. So um, we are so driven by our stories, and there's a power in recognizing them. So I think with what's going on is you're going to really find a lot of these stories.
Right.
They're going to come up. So recognize them. And so what's a good way for people to recognize that this is, something that is created? It's not necessarily true. It's lacking lots of facts. It's a story. How do we know the difference between the two?
Uh, I always have people check the facts when I'm dealing with stories, Jackie. I have them even write them down, even in my private practice. You know, if somebody comes to me and says, "I think that my boyfriend is doing this," I will say, "Well, let's take a look at what's going on here. Write
Mhm.
down everything that you actually know. Okay, that is a fact. It's a fact. It's not a supposition. It's not an emotional reaction. It's a fact. Okay, my boyfriend went to the grocery store on Tuesday at 9 a.m. That's a fact. Okay. My boyfriend was gone for 15 minutes. Okay. And then what you can say is, can my boyfriend really have an affair in that 15 minutes that he was gone to the grocery store? Because he did
Right.
bring back some groceries. That would be awful quick. You know,
Right.
so you can start to look at the reality of the situation, which is a requirement of Saturn. Okay. Saturn says, look at reality. not look at your emotions. Your emotions may not be real. Okay. Your
And
emotions are just what you're feeling at the time.
so Mercury is communication,
Hmm.
and your communication is opposing your what is real.
Right.
So that's where the stories can get conflicted, and yeah.
Also, Mercury is in Virgo, so you can be way too much in the details, Jackie. You can be overwhelmed by details with Mercury in Virgo. Okay.
Yeah.
Saturn likes details. Okay, but sometimes the details may not necessarily be the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
all right.
sometimes the details are not necessarily the truth. The good thing, though, is that after Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this heaviness, write down your experiences that you're going through that day, because on Thursday, the sun is going to trine Uranus, okay, which is actually Thursday is the most positive day of the week. That's when you try to do everything, okay? Um, that's when you try to
Wait,
get it
let me
done.
look at my calendar. Okay, keep talking.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
No, wait, I'm looking at my calendar.
right, right. The interesting
Oh, that's
thing about the sun in trine to Uranus, I'm just going to keep this brief, Jackie, is expect sudden insights and breakthroughs, okay? And also be open to spontaneity and trust your intuition. And I think it's really, after you look at this list, you will find things that you need to change in regards to your life, okay? And embracing those changes that you need to make by being reflective and being honest with yourself about your emotions and your experiences will help you to be able to navigate through this particular energy and use this with the biggest possible bang for your buck. Okay. And that's the way to look at this. This is the $200 you have to go to the grocery store and you need to feed a family of four for a weekday. Okay.
mhm.
Which is why the candle that I chose, which is outside of my own line, Astro Magic, this is my go-to candle. Need a change vanishing.
Right. Because sometimes when things aren't working, you just need the change.
Right.
I love
It's my
that.
go-to.
Okay, so here's what has me thinking about what this has me thinking about is that right now a lot of people are stuck in a rut and a monotony of holy mackerel, things are not going the way I want them to go.
Right.
And they're trying to figure out a way out, whether it's debt or inflation or whatever. And to all the business owners out there, and I know there's a lot of us who do this, it's been pretty challenging for the past 18 months of like things are not going the way I want them to go.
Hmm.
So this is a great day. And it's so funny. I did look at my calendar, by the way. We're doing our goal setting meeting that day. So
Oh,
that's
good.
perfect. And the needed change banishing candle for, and what you're, by the way, don't get worried about the word banishing with needed change. You're letting go of what you were holding on to that from the other side of the change. So like
Hmm.
you're just letting go of it. Like when you make a big change, you have to let go of the identity part of an identity. So that's what helps that happen. So
Right.
I think this is going to bring some people out of some ruts.
I think it will help. It's a great starting point.
Yeah. Well,
The
that
interesting thing. Go ahead.
just that creative spark that comes from that, like, oh, I have some clarity.
Right. You have some clarity. And then the interesting thing, and this happens with everybody, and I just laughed, Jackie, when I was writing this week. The astrology forecast, which, by the way, you can find on thecursebreakers.com. Every month, the whole thing goes up so you can read it for yourself. We'll explain it in detail, but you can read it for yourself.
And it's
Um,
also on coventrycreations.com if you don't see it
right.
on Curse Breakers.
Right. Now, the interesting thing is, Jackie, how many times have you in your head had that, oh, this is how I get out of it? And then the following day, you're like back into the mix again. You're back into the negativity. Okay.
Oh, I
That's
mean,
exactly what's
every
going to
day.
happen. That's exactly what's going to happen because the sun is then going to oppose Neptune. Which makes you feel a lot of uncertainty, especially about who you are in the world. It's going to cause a lot of misunderstandings, especially in relationships, because oppositions also have a lot to do with relationships. It heightens your sensitivity and your vulnerability. So people are going to be on edge. It's like, oh, yesterday I just resolved the answer. Now, why am I back into this mindset again? Okay.
Hang on. This is not fair. I
It's
need a
not.
couple of days with insight.
Sorry. You got 3 days of insight, girl, and then you got a point to make change. And I think oftentimes we do need a period of a negative day after a positive day because it can help ground things. And it's why I think that the best magic to use would be like inner balance magic. It's to navigate through the highs and the lows.
Okay, all right. No, I get this. Okay, so we have this positive day of
Thursday, yeah.
creativity, right? And then we come and so you there's a big change. Like you say, okay, I'm going to go from long red hair to short blonde. Like I'm inspired with this.
Hmm.
And that's going to solve my problems. Not that it ever does, but you think it does. Which I'm not going to do, by the way. And so then the next
I'd pay
day,
for that dye job, girl.
you do not want me to be a blonde. It would be so confusing for you if I was a
I
blonde.
know it would. It would.
Okay, so then the next day, you are with the sun opposing Neptune. That's gonna bring the curse that you're gonna break on that is gaining some more clarity in this identity change.
I have a very good friend named Jackie Smith. Okay. And
Uh-huh.
sometimes she tells me, Storm, sometimes you just have to sit in the suck.
Okay.
And I think that that's what Friday is all about. It's about
Sit in the
sitting
sun.
in the suck in order for you to, you have these extreme lows at the beginning of the week, then you have this high energy type of day. And then there's kind of the crash. It's like the sugar crash Friday. Okay. Sugar
Okay.
crash Friday. And what we need is to be able to balance things at that particular point.
Okay. I'm getting you. Okay. Because you could get with the sun opposing Neptune, sun being your identity and Neptune being um
The
that
land of confusion.
the land of confusion, illusion, nebulousness. So you can go from, hey, first I'm going to break out of this routine and get some really big creative energy. And then the next day I'm not going to know what to do with it because I'm very confused because your identity is going to be challenged.
If people want to know what Neptune feels like, okay, because it is an outer planet and it's a little bit
Take some
transpersonal,
shrooms.
Jackie. Besides taking shrooms, go onto YouTube and type in Genesis Land of Confusion. It was a song, okay, from the 80s.
Okay.
And watch the video involved with it. And it's about how the world is not what it appears to be.
Interesting. Okay. I'm going to do that after the show.
Yeah.
Um, and now the song's kind of playing in my head.
Yeah. I love
So,
some Phil Collins, I'm just saying.
okay, now, so we go from it like, I'm creative, I'm confused. And then we go into Saturday, I'm what?
Impulsive. So now you're confused. Okay. Mercury on Saturday is going to square Jupiter in Gemini. Okay. And uh, communication and is a little tricky with this, okay, because there's a lot of overconfidence. Things can be exaggerated even in regards to your own head. We exaggerate things to ourselves all the time. There can be some miscommunication. I always tell people with Mercury and Jupiter, whenever they're together, to really, because Jupiter expands Mercury when it touches it, Jackie, no matter what the aspect is. But with it being a square and a square being an obstacle based aspect, I always tell people to double check the details and information. Now, this transit can be positive, Jackie, because you can grow and challenge your beliefs about things. Okay. The only thing that people have to be careful of is the fact that it can cause you to be very restless and it can cause you to be very impatient. And when you're impatient, you can be very, very reactive. And people that are very reactive can very much mess up their lives. Okay.
So check the
Yeah.
details.
Check the facts again.
Check the facts again. Okay, check the facts again. And this reminds me of I need to get something done. I need to get it done right now. I'm just gonna do it. I'm not gonna worry about the details. I'm not gonna worry about the repercussions. I need to, I need to clean my gutters. And so I'm just gonna steal my neighbor's ladder
Mm-hmm.
and put it up there and then not have a safety net as I'm going up.
Right. And also manage your expectations. Oftentimes, one of the things that I learned this a long time ago, and it was from a 12-step program, that the level of your serenity is directly proportional to the level of your expectations. If your
Oh,
expectations are very, very high, if you have a movie going off in your head, Jackie, that this is going to be the Lord of the Rings epic adventure that you're about to undertake, okay, and then you find out it is,
the teacup ride.
yeah, the teacup ride. You may not be happy with this particular
No, and
experience.
not the adult teacup ride, the kiddie teacup
Right.
ride.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a problem, which is why, the recommended energy for that day, Jackie, is True Serum.
Which is the Mercury candle in the Astro Magic line.
Right, right.
And that makes total sense. So before we move on, I just want to talk about something really quick. We had talked about a trine, and we've at least once, and then we're talking about a square.
Hmm.
So can you? What is that? We
Okay. A
the oppose
trine,
and the conjunct. We get that.
sextiles and trines are easy. Trines are especially easy. Okay. Really, you don't have to do that much. It's all going to happen on its own. Okay. With the sun in trine to Uranus, ideas are going to come into your head from out of the blue. It does it. What you're going to find at your business meeting, Jackie, is everybody's going to be filled with ideas and they're going to be throwing them out left and right. Okay. Um, uh, so it's going to come easy with a sextile, which I don't know if we have one this week, actually.
No, but the
Um,
square. I was comparing it to a square.
A sextile is easy also, you just have to do a little bit of work with it, okay?
So
So it
it's like trine meaning three, sextile meaning six. So if it's three and
right,
six, and that is astrological measurement. Like
right.
what degree is it that a trine is a certain
Is
degree?
120 degrees, a sextile is 60.
So it's like it's a divisible
We're
by
math
three kind of
wizards.
thing.
We're math
We're mathing.
wizards. Yeah, we're
Okay.
we're it's a math thing. We're wizards.
Okay.
Um, yeah, because a square, Jackie, though, is a 90-degree angle. Okay.
Hmm.
And the key word I have with it is obstacles, frustrations.
You know what this reminds me of?
What?
Um, when you're taking a curve in the road is a trine, but when you gotta turn left or right because you gotta
Mm-hmm.
stop,
Mm-hmm.
that's a square.
Right.
That's how I look.
Great
That's
metaphor. Great metaphor. Um, and of course, this leads us into what is going to be the busiest day of the week, which is Sunday.
okay.
The first aspect, of course, is going to be another trine, which is the sun and trine to Pluto. Okay. It gives you a bit of confidence. Now, there's other energies in this day that's probably going to weigh out on this. Okay. So just be prepared for that. Okay. There may be, because some of these will supersede, especially when you have a lot of energies on one day. Usually the most potent one is going to take charge, Jackie, which is Venus and square to Pluto. But the sun being in trine to Pluto is where you can feel more confident and able to tackle challenges easier. Okay.
Get your
Um,
chores done on
right.
Sunday.
It's a perfect time for introspection and also uncovering truths about yourself. Okay. It's about digging deep, digging in the suck.
But wait, what day does
Sunday.
Sunday it goes into Libra?
Yes, the sun is gonna after that. First, the sun is gonna in Virgo is gonna trine Pluto and Capricorn.
Hmm.
Then the sun is going to move into Libra. Okay. Virgo is a sign that has to do with focusing on details. Okay. It's the whole, at least in North America, you know, usually in North America, or I would even say the Northern Hemisphere, probably, Jackie, both of the Northern Hemispheres. It's really about think about what September is. Usually kids are going back to school. Summer is about to
Right.
be over.
In the
People are
agrarian society, we're making sure our crops are in
right,
and they're being stored correctly, and we're canning a lot and drying
right.
a lot, and yeah, you gotta mind the details, or you won't make it through the winter.
And if you think about things as a cycle, Jackie, the sun moving into Aries is the beginning of the year. The sun moving into Libra is the beginning of the end of the year, the last cycle. Okay. So this is kind of a full moon moment in many ways. Okay. When the sun moves into Libra, the focus is on relationships, teamwork, balance, improving communication skills, being diplomatic, focusing on things like self care and what do I need to do in order to get ready for winter. The
Yeah.
Saturnian season. Um, uh, so it's also, Jackie, if you like, for example, you're a business owner, and I'll just use you as an example. It would be if you were to come to me.
Cautionary tale. I like to say I'm a cautionary tale. Go
Yes,
ahead.
yes, and she's my best example because I know her chart like my own. It is, if you were to come to me and say, Storm, I'm going into this business meeting on Thursday. Okay. What additional things should I know coming up? I would say, well, Jackie, the sun is moving into Libra. This would be also the point in which you shore up your relationships with other people, whether it be your business partnerships, whether it's to reassure them, whether it's to let them know basically what's going on or what your plans are. Um, Somebody that you may want to collaborate with on a different project. It's a time to look at that. Who do you want to collaborate with over the next year? So it's really
Interesting.
looking at things in this, using the astrological energies to your advantage, basically.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah.
So just kind of bringing it all in. So Sunday um is really understanding how your own
Hmm.
empowerment, how your own personal power works with the people around you. Um
Yeah.
so that um as we're moving into Libra, because Libra is about relationships with everybody and it's about
But
balance,
and
right?
also remember that the key here, Jackie, okay, and it's a very, astrology does not make mistakes, okay. Right before, and I mean right before the sun moves into Libra, which is about relationships, okay. The sun is in Virgo and it trines Pluto, which is about this deep dig. Okay. So it's basically saying go inside, look at yourself, uncover some stuff about yourself so that when you start to engage in your relationships with others, you're more authentic.
Mhm. Right. And it's a balance in that relationship. So
Right.
it's not like this is my way and blah 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 blah. And we talked about the story earlier that you're not stuck in your story, stuck in your pain, that you
Right.
can't see that somebody else has a story and some pain as well. So that your stories can come into harmony with each other. So you're going to break that curse of it nobody understands me to and that disharmony of like why do things happen like this and moving it into harmony. So that's like think about the astrology, and I look at it as like it's vibrating in a certain way.
Hmm.
So the sun trining Pluto and the sun entering Libra that day, it's vibrating in a certain way, so you can take that vibration, set your intent with it,
Hmm.
and really make some change.
Hmm. Which is
And
why the candle I recommend is Cursebreaker.
I love it. I think right. I'm with you
I'm
100%.
the Cursebreaker, and also I think that if there is, out of all uh, the candles in the world that are out there, and there's a bazillion. Okay, of course ours are the best, but there's a bazillion. Okay, um, if there was one that you had to buy 12 of, Jackie, I would buy 12 curse breakers, and each season like a new one up so that you can engage in the particular energy of that season more effectively, because
Right.
remember the sun brings the light on things. So even if you're doing things in an unconscious sort of way, I find that it will still help you attune yourself with the energy of the season. And a lot of astrology is about attuning yourself with that particular energy.
And by the way, the curse breaker candle is also called the sun in the
Hmm.
Astro Magic line.
Right.
Um, and you can find all of those on coventrycreations.com.
Correct.
And as well as this report is always on coventrycreations.com and on Curse Breakers, which I just went to the Curse Breaker site and we have to make sure it's on there.
Oh. Now, next up, we've got two more things to do. Next is going to be probably the energy that is going to overlay the day in the hardest sort of way, Jackie. Okay.
Okay.
Squares are going to kind of supersede, and oppositions are going to kind of supersede whatever energy the
Oh
sun
wait,
moving into.
Sunday is a very busy day because I'm just looking
Hmm.
at your notes and going, wait, I stopped. I stopped.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, so Venus in Libra. Venus now is in the sign of Libra. Okay. It's going to square Pluto in Capricorn before, again, we have this right before Venus changes signs into Scorpio. Okay. She's going to make that square to Pluto and Capricorn. Okay. Venus in square to Pluto. Okay. Is intense. It's extremely intense. Okay. So emotions are going to be on edge. You're going to experience a lot of transformative energies in regards to relationships, for better or for worse. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
um, uh, it can highlight issues within a relationship that need to be addressed. Okay. So pay a close attention to what's happening that day and the way that you're feeling that day. Okay. And for some people, Jackie, it may be the beginning of the end to many relationships. Okay. Um, Pluto can also make us very, very obsessive. Okay. So we can begin to focus on things in a not so productive sort of way. And I always tell people when Venus is in square to Pluto to avoid manipulating at all costs. Okay, it's not the day to do
So,
it.
so a big family dinner on Sunday night might
Not
not
no.
be a thing. Everyone go get your McDonald's and go to your
Yeah,
corner.
yeah, yeah. I wouldn't recommend McDonald's, but
I know, but it's like, okay,
yeah,
get your Kentucky Fried
get your
Chicken.
salad. No.
You know what I'm saying is that
Yeah, yeah.
it might that so if you
Get
are
your
having a
pre-made salad.
yeah if you are having a big family dinner that night, which because that happens in a lot of families, just understand that you might need to stay away from different topics or dive in. Everybody
Mhm.
dive in and start working on what needs to be addressed.
It's the other thing that I think that people need to look at, Jackie, is the things that we do unconsciously in regard that manipulate people. Do you
Yeah,
understand what I mean by that?
yeah. So the the games we play,
Yeah,
the games we
it's
play
the
to get
games
what
that
we
we play.
want.
Right, exactly. Not the time to do it. And it is why many, many years ago I was going through a trouble in regards to my life. And I asked you, Jackie, I said, what candles do you recommend for this? Okay. And after outside of my own line astromagic, outside of needed change and banishing, the heart candle is probably the one that I use the most. And the reason being is that for me, at least, Jackie, and again, these words are important and your relationship to those words are important also. The heart candle is all about forgiving yourself for your own stupidity,
Mhm.
your own mistakes, your own trespasses that you've made against yourself, because I think that that is sometimes necessary in regards to moving to the next level. And the next level here, and I will let you get into that in just give me one more second, Jackie.
Certainly.
Before, because what we're about to dive into with Venus is the deep end. Okay. So I think oftentimes forgiving yourself to get to where it is that you are now, had a purpose, had a reason. Now it's time to forgive yourself for needing that reason.
So the heart candle allows you to do a courageous self-reflection. It's really I was just having a conversation with someone last night about how therapy is great because you get to go blah blah blah. This is what's going on, and your therapist responds to you. Couples therapy is hard
Right.
because you have to face yourself. And so it's kind of like your own couples therapy because you have to face your own actions, reactions. That self-reflection isn't just your image in the mirror. Self-reflection isn't just this is hard and everybody hates
Hmm.
me. Self-reflection is, oh, I was a dick. I
Right.
was not my best self there. So self-reflection is that's courageous self-infliction.
Right.
Um,
It,
so
it is. And the heart candle is so powerful in regards to helping you release the trauma that you inflict on yourself.
mhm.
Okay.
It helps
Especially
you
in
handle the
situations that you've been trauma bonded with something.
yeah, and it helps you the heart candle really helps you handle the overwhelming emotions.
Right.
Because that's one of the things like that emotion is too big. I'm too upset
Right.
at myself. I'm too I just sometimes we're so upset at ourselves we don't even want to address it. But the heart candle smooths that path so you're not harming yourself even more.
Right. And then finally on Sunday, and then
Wait,
we
there's a
can.
finally?
There's a finally on
Wait,
Sunday.
there's more?
Finally.
Finally.
It's even written, Jackie. Look, finally on Sunday. I even wrote it. It's Sunday evening, in fact. Venus is going to move out of Libra and into Scorpio. Okay. Now, Venus is considered in detriment in Scorpio, meaning she doesn't like being in the sign. Okay. She doesn't like it at all. But she's still in the sign for a reason, and it's our particular point of the year, Jackie, in which we need to um, focus on our deep emotional connections and be open to transformative growth. In other words, the difficulties in relationships are going to rise to the surface, okay, over the next 3 weeks, okay, while Venus is in Scorpio. Basically what you're going to see is the issues are going to rise up. Okay. You can choose to transform. You can choose to make the change with them. I also tell people with this one to pay attention to financial health by planning and investing wisely, because Scorpio has a natural connection to other people's money. Okay. So focusing on stuff like, have you used too much of your credit? Are you too overextended credit wise? What do you need to do to balance out your finances? And really look at, are you being a good steward with your money? Okay, this is all important.
Okay.
And of course, because it's got to be. Okay.
All right.
You got to
So
burn that bitch
kind
candle.
of unpacking everything that you said.
Right.
Venus in Scorpio, because Scorpio is so deep.
Mm-hmm.
It's so deep, and it has a lot of secrets. It has a lot of deepness to it, things that you keep just for yourself.
Right.
So Venus in Scorpio is like those big deep emotional connections that we just talked about earlier with the heart.
Right.
So if you got the heart candle going, it's going to help with this. And it so our passions are going to be accentuated.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe the passions could potentially go a little off the deep end because it's so deep.
Yeah, they can. In mythology, in the Iliad, Jackie, Venus, she's not laying on a bonbon or on a couch eating bonbons or Godiva chocolates. Okay. She is a full-on battle goddess that is out into the battlefield drinking blood. Okay, that's the perfect image of Venus in Scorpio. She is almost
Again, the Sunday family dinner
right.
is going to
Right.
be
Yeah, it's
interesting.
it's gonna be very interesting. Get the salad just to him. But at the same time, what Venus in Scorpio is about is transforming our relationships with other people. Okay, and uh, I think that that bitch, the Venus candle. A part of the number one, when we made the Venus candle, we wanted it to do a lot of different things. One was, it's green, so it has financial prosperity aspects to it. We wanted it to be a glamour candle so that people could feel confident about themselves and step into their own power. We wanted it to be a candle in which people can project the image that they want other people to see about them better. Okay. And I think that that's what all the Scorpio is how do I transform myself that changes my relationships so I'm the best image of myself that I can possibly be. And it's about doing the damn work. It's the battlefield.
Yeah. And you are the battlefield.
Right.
Not love is a battlefield, but you are the battlefield. And
Right.
so
Otherwise, love will be a battlefield.
so I can all right. I'm taking it all in. Sorry. I'm stuttering because like Sunday's gonna be a big day. So we're gonna go from
It's also about, Jackie, and this may help you get, because I'm seeing that has not switched for you yet intuitively. Okay. Here is the thing also. It's the time, Jackie, in which we need to look at our relationships, Venus and Scorpio, and look at which ones are meaningful to us, which ones that we want to continue to foster and encourage growth in, and which ones do we want to get rid of.
interesting because this is again an evolutionary week too.
Right.
So which ones do we want to evolve?
Right.
Allowing relationships to evolve. Like let's say you're having family dinner with your mom
Mm-hmm.
and your mom is doing the things that she's doing, but having that evolution of looking at her, because you're a grown ass adult now, looking
Right.
at your mom as another adult versus looking at your mom from the eyes of a child, you being a child and that is your mother, and saying, oh, mom's got some foibles. Mom's mom's
Absolutely.
mom's got some issues.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Jackie, that's it. That's the whole week. We're
All
done.
right. So we talked about a few products here. Not that this show isn't about you buying products. This show is about different energies you can use to wrangle
Right.
the astrology. Because you have it's happening. The astrology is happening. There's energies at play,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to bring up things. They're going to show you where your challenges are and where you can break free. So
And you can also use those names, Jackie, as journal prompts.
yes, yes, the names of the products. Yes,
Yeah, you can
and
use them as journal prompts. What does it mean to be that bitch? What does it mean to have inner balance? What does it mean to,
to work from the heart.
right, and to break your curses? I mean, these can all just be, the purpose is to cause an inward pursuit, whether that be through journaling, whether that be through candle magic, whether that be through self-actualization, regardless of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's for.
This has been insightful. I have marked things on my calendar for next
Hopefully,
week.
yeah.
I mean, put it in your calendar like there's a theme for each day. Like for
Yeah.
instance, Monday is healing emotional wounds around self-worth and relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday is releasing emotional blocks and building resilience. I wrote these down from our conversation. Uh, Wednesday is overcoming communication struggles and mental limitations.
Yep.
Thursday is breaking free from routines and stagnant patterns and going woohoo.
Yeah.
I added that. Friday is releasing confusion and gaining clarity in identity and relationships. Now, this is also, by the way, this is flipping the energy, saying, how can I learn from
What
it
is
and
the
use it?
productive way to work
Yeah.
with the energy? Yeah.
Saturday is overcoming overconfidence and scattered
Yeah.
thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sunday, would you say overall Sunday, it's transforming personal power and relationships?
Yes.
Okay.
And you may
So,
need to make a lot of difficult changes and choices. That's the thing. It's gonna be a difficult week, which is why my encouragement is, when in doubt, take a look at yourself, how it is that you feel, what it is that's really you, what are you really thinking, and how do you want to move forward with your own future?
and let's talk about the influence of astrology for a moment.
Sure.
Um, you can choose to just ignore it all. You can and just stay on your couch and stay in your
Right.
house and not interact with anyone. But that influence is going to be around you because it's things that happen out in the world, emails that you get, people that you talk to, etc. And you get to choose how influenced you will be.
Right. It's your choice. It's your decision.
Yeah, and so this is forearmed.
Yeah, to be forewarned is to be
And I
forearmed.
always learn something about the different planets and the signs. It just allows my my mind to kind of play in the pool of astrology and go, oh, that's what that. Oh, I understand Chiron a little better. Oh, I understand Uranus a little better. So
Yeah, and if all goes to hell on Sunday when you're at your family dinner, you could throw out some astrology and say, "This is the reason why this is happening. It's why
yeah, okay, everybody
Uncle
calm
Steve is so
down.
cranky."
Yeah, everyone calm down. This is supposed to happen. But what I was thinking about is that it can, that dinner can evolve to where you are end up diving deep and healing some stuff at the
Right.
end.
Right.
Everyone's
Absolutely.
crying and going, I know I still love you, Mom.
Absolutely.
All right. So next week, you're going to get another
Yeah,
astrological
we will.
bump.
Yes.
And what I'd love to do is pull in a little bit of what's happening in the world.
Okay,
How
sure.
this, let's play with, okay, so playing with what's going to happen in the world. I mean, next week is not anything too amazing because it's just like the third week back at school, but getting full into September. So next week is, I don't know. We'll see. Let's see what
We'll
happens
see.
next week.
We'll just do it organically, whatever comes
Yeah.
in.
So we'll watch what's happening in the world and then go, look, are we talking about that?
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you, Storm. This was a lot of information.
You're very, very welcome. And everybody should make sure that you cruise on over to thecursebreakers.com. That's our website. And you can get a lot of information. It's going to be updated over the next week. So just be patient. Or you can cruise to coventrycreations.com and get my astrology forecast. We promise it will end up on Cursebreakers, so our website. So if you need to do that for a week, we'll let you know if that tab has been added. Jacki, where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me on all the socials, but you usually find me through Coventry Candles, Coventry
Mm-hmm.
Creations. Um, and then you can find me through that. Otherwise, because there's a lot of Jacki Smiths in the world.
Right.
But you can find me on social media. But I really just put everything on Coventry.
Yeah, exactly. You can also find me at Storm Cestavani pretty much everywhere except Facebook. I am facebook.com/astro gossip, because what do I like to talk about? Astrology. So that's
Love
what it
it.
is, and that's where it's at. Jacki, we will see everybody else in a week. What do they need to do in the meantime?
Keep it magic.
Yes. Have a great evening, everybody.